celebrity and politicians, our politicians have basically become celebrities at this point. I'm pretty sure we've already coronated Queen Hillary, which is a really sad thought. But Ben Affleck now is being rumored that he may be the next celebrity politician. Did you also hear he was going to be Batman? That was a minor thing you might have missed on Twitter. But Jennifer Garner, his wife, had a little something to say about it. Right now, Ben feels like he can do more good for people politically from outside the system. Would I be surprised if one day he did go into politics? No. All right, it's a somewhat innocuous, but there's the hint there, and people have talked about Matt Damon maybe, and we have a long history of actors going into politics, which we'll get to in just a sec. But do you think this is the future, that you're going to have to be famous first to go into politics?
Ronnie did it. Ronnie pulled it off well.
Yes, he did.
And I feel like we've been hearing this about the BAF for so long that he's maybe going in. No, he's not going in. No, but he's so interested, and he might. And yes, he will probably get elected to anything that he wants because I like him. He's pretty, and he's a smart guy. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but yeah, it's a little. Maybe he can marry Batman and the presidential campaign.
Ooh, can you go directly from Batman to the Senate? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can do anything. Of course you can. You got the money, you got the right guys behind you, you picked the right state. Sure, you could do it. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, he really is.
I don't know whether he's, interested. What they forget is that you can be a smart guy, but you have to be interested in the legislative process, which is, is dull unless you're into it, in which case it's the coolest thing you've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, guys who are in it have to be dedicated. All these guys we bring in now are guys who literally come in, they hate the process.
Right.
Yeah.
They hate designing laws.
Yeah.
And they think that that's their job, is to come there and prevent laws and growth and progress from happening. I mean, they probably don't say that.
They probably don't say
we know that's what they mean.
Yeah, but do you think that's one of the things with Obama, that he really likes campaigning and fundraising and speaking, but I've heard that he's not big on the actual legislating and getting in there and really working through the bills with Congress and all that stuff, as opposed to someone like Clinton, who loved that stuff, loved striking a deal and all the nuance.
Bill Clinton, I don't think, would have gotten one other thing done that Barack Obama has. I mean, I really think the obstinance of the Republicans is such that it wouldn't matter. I mean, maybe a little, and that may be true about Obama, but he is, he's clearly the kind of leader who'd like to sort of shape out the broad parameters and then let his guys go to work. But there's no going to work in the House. Right. It can't be done.
Those guys aren't playing nicely. All right, let's take a look at some of the other actors who've gone into politics. This is just a tiny, tiny list. Al Franken, comedian, he's now the senator from Minnesota. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I still can't believe that he was the governor of this state. Is wild. Ben Stein, who he was in Win Ben Stein's Money, and he's done Ferris Bueller's Day Off and all that. He was a speechwriter for Nixon and Ford. A lot of people don't know that. Clint Eastwood was the mayor of Carmel, California. Jerry Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati until he paid a hooker with a check. That's true. Ronald Reagan obviously was the governor of California and the president of the United States. And Sonny Bono was the mayor of Palm Springs, California. This is just a tiny, tiny list.
One that's really interesting that is not on that list is a guy named George Murphy, who beat JFK's press secretary Pierre Salinger in California for the Senate race in 1964. George Murphy was president of the Screen Actors Guild from 1944 to 46. Reagan was his deputy. And George Murphy was a big-time actor. A song and dance man first, and then became a kind of a B-movie actor, and a pretty good one. And then went to the Senate 2 years before Reagan went to the governorship. And he's a good-looking dude, and he was sort of Reagan before Reagan. And then he went in 64 and served till 70, and then Reagan came in 66 and went on to do a couple other things.
Ben has him up on his laptop.
Yeah, there you go.
The laptop.
I knew there was a reason for the laptop.
I wanted to make sure I got the year right on George Murphy.
Finally, someone fact-checking some of the things we do around here. That's very nice. So one of the things I brought up a couple of times since we've been doing this is that I partly think that what we need in America is not that we need a monarchy or a royal family, but I feel like the British somehow get out some of the juiciness of politics with the royal family, and we want our politicians to be everything. We want them to be cool rock stars like Obama and also nerdy policy wonks. I don't know if that's possible. So is having celebrities be politicians, does that just make the system that much more screwed?
Well, maybe we should just elect Ben Affleck king. Prince. But seriously, it does.
Yeah.
It gets out a lot of, because one human can't be all those things. And if they are the perfect rock star, the most attractive person, or the most charismatic person, they're not necessarily going to be the best legislatively. And if somebody's an amazing, legislator, they're not necessarily going to be the most charismatic, Al Gore.
Yeah.
So it's a human thing, though. We want people that we recognize and we feel attached to already. It's so much easier. We want them to make decisions for us. If they're on our ballot, we'll vote for them.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad thing. But I think you're right. I don't think there's any going back from it. And then you hope that when we make the mistakes that we'll make, that those guys prove to be different. But the idea that Ben Affleck is eager and ready to work with 99 other guys on staying up, rolling up his sleeves late at night with staff to work out the intricacies of certain legislation and stand up to corporate interests, because there's nobody standing up there in a general way for regular people, for working Americans, that they don't have a lobby, let alone poor Americans. I don't see that happening, and that's not an indictment of him. I wouldn't want to do it.
Right. And also the idea that he would immediately, it's obvious that if someone of Ben Affleck's stature and clout was to run, that obviously you immediately run for Senate. He's not going to go be like a congressional aide first, or
What kind of loser would be in the House?
Oh, yeah, you got not someone like the schmouse, the House, the schmouse.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? So Reagan is really the best example of this, though, because he became president, and now everyone thinks he's some sort of god, or at least half the people do, or something like that. Do the Republicans have no chance to ever have a famous person make it anymore? Because all the celebrities now are Democrats, or I think there's a lot that are actually closet Republicans.
Yes.
Are there any? Who are the big Republicans now that are
Gary Oldman? He's British.
Angie Harmon.
Right, Angie Harmon.
For president.
Right.
Yeah, Angie Harmon. There's what's his name from The Dating Game. Chuck Woolery is a big
Chuck
Republican.
Woolery is right. Yeah.
And I don't envy them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck Woolery gets sick of being in Congress in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Yeah.
James Woods is another one. Have you seen that? Are you guys following him on Twitter? He has become a major right wing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny. James Woods is a fan of my father through politics, through the '72 McGovern campaign. So he's one of those guys who had a transformation, I guess. I didn't know that about James Woods.
Yeah.
The other thing you hear about James Woods.
Well, I know about that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Google it. You'll figure it out.
Hey, that's our co-star.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jimmy Woods.
Lovely,
That's right.
lovely.
I should mention, by the way, this is the first time on the Rubin Report that we have two people who starred in one movie. That's right. Ben and Jackie were both in White House Down. Did not have a scene together, though, from what I understand.
I didn't have a scene with anyone.
You did. There was another human.
Yeah, there was another human. It was funny because you guys, the professional actors, wrapped that movie, and then we came in like 8 weeks later, and not long before release.
That's right, in like March.
Yeah, where they were, I guess, in some screenings, they were like, "Hey, how's the outside world know what's happening here? We have to. We need the inside world to know what's happening outside. So we got to have some TV stuff." And that was clearly added later. Yeah. And God bless them.
And I was excited to see you when I saw you. I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Thank you very much. Yeah, I had far more lines, but far more lines than I've had in anything ever. So.
And you killed it.